So I thought I would do a tutorial inspired by the tragic 60s icon Edie Sedgwick today. I have done an Edie Sedgwick inspired tutorial about a couple of years ago, so I thought it was the right time to sort of update it. If you don't know who Edie Sedgwick was, she was Andy Warhol's muse in the 60s, and because back in those days, probably the most iconic model of the 60s mod scene was Twiggy, so she was often referred to as the American Twiggy, but she definitely wasn't like a copy of Twiggy. She definitely had, even though the makeup was similar, she definitely had her own story, her own character, and quite a sad and tragic character. So yeah, she was really interesting and her makeup was amazing, and yes, that's why I decided to do a Edie Sedgwick look today. I really hope you enjoy. Okay, I'm going to begin with a new foundation. Well, I don't know if it's new, but it's new to me. I've only just started recently using it, and I actually really love it. It's the Revlon Photo Ready Airbrush Foundation. Now, I don't know if it's going to be for everyone, because it is quite a weird foundation if you have a look. It comes out like a mousse, like that. And I'm going to take a Real Techniques buffing brush and get some of the product on there and work it in circular motions. Now, this foundation, it does feel a bit strange, it does take some getting used to, but I love it. I think it looks really well. And I have normal to oily skin, so I don't know how well it will work with a dry skin, but it works well on my skin. Now, in most of the pictures of Edie, her skin looks pretty flawless. Now, I don't know, because Edie wasn't always in a perfect state, I don't know how healthy her natural skin was, but I think because of all the lighting, and she probably had a really heavy cakey foundation on, her skin did look flawless, so make sure you try and get your skin as flawless as possible. Now for the brows, and to be honest, you can just leave your brows as they are. To be honest, the real key of the makeup is the eye makeup, but Edie had, if you want to stick to the actual Edie Sedgwick look, Edie had really big brows. But naturally big brows, so I think she just sort of worked her brows into her own makeup. So this look will I think this look will work either way if you have small brows or big brows. My brows are fairly, not quite Sedgwick big, but they're a fair size. So what I'm going to do is take a bit of Mystery Eyeshadow by MAC, which is just a brown eyeshadow, and I'm going to lightly just brush it through the brows and backcomb my brows to sort of make them look a little bit fuller. And in this corner here, just make sure you go very lightly. You don't want a scouse brow for this. Now, what I would recommend, because we're working with a very dramatic eye, we want quite a lot of eye space. So if you take a spoolie brush, which looks like that, this is just the end of a brow pencil, and if you take the highest point of your brow and brush it upwards, so you can just really get the highest point and sort of, I don't know, clear up some space for your eye makeup later. Then I have a Bobbi Brown Natural Brow Shaper, which looks like that. It's just clear. And the reason why I'm using a clear one is because I don't want my brows to be any darker. Just look a little bit fuller. Okay, I'm going to use a paint pot by MAC. This is Painterly. You want to use a base which is very similar to your natural skin tone. So I'm using Painterly because it's like a nice light colour, and it matches my skin tone. Okay, so next up you want to have a light colour. It can be white if you want to, it doesn't matter. To be honest, most of Edie's photographs were in black and white, so it's hard to tell because you can only see shade and contrast in black and white rather than colour. It's actually entirely up to you, as long as it's a nice light colour. I'm actually going to be using a colour from this Wet n Wild palette, and it's I'm going to use that one there, which is like a beigey white, I guess. Now I love this. The payoff in these products is absolutely amazing, and because you want the shades to be quite intense, it's perfect for this look. Now you want to whack this onto the lid and come right up by the brow. Now Edie had really big lid space and really big socket space and brow space to work with, so even though this makeup did highlight those features, she naturally had it. Now a tip to have, if you don't have good lid space or just general good eye space, a good tip to sort of highlight the highest point of your brow is I'm taking a crown brush, this is a Duo Fibre crease brush, and you want to pick a colour which is slightly darker than your skin tone. I'm using an Ashy Brown by Bobbi Brown, and it's called Birch. And this brush is nice and tapered, so what you need, if you tilt your head up and place the brush in the crease, and then very, very slightly just bring the brush in and round. Keep your head tilted and your brush at an angle. Keep going out and round, tracing around your lid, and just brush slightly. You just want the tips of the brush just to tickle your eye just slightly. And it's probably not showing up in the camera, but you only need to just do it so you can see it, and you can use it as a guide, because it's not really part of the makeup, this bit. Okay, now I'm going to move on to a dark eyeshadow. I'm actually going to be using a black eyeshadow from Bourjois, but any dark shade will do. If black's a bit too harsh for you, you can use a dark brown or a dark grey or a dark purple. I mean, anything really. I mean, as I said before, because Edie's makeup was often seen in black and white, it was hard to tell really what the exact shade she used. But I think she basically used black and white most of the time. So I've got an angle brush by Louise Young. Now, where you've drawn your little socket line, you want to trace over the highest point that socket line is made. So you want to begin quite lightly if your hand's a bit shaky, or you try and find the right shape. So just go over where you've got that socket line. Okay, now when you get to just at the corner of your eye, what Twiggy usually did, and what most model looks would do, would bring the eyeshadow down to make the eyes look really open and round. What Edie did, she likes to bring her eyes out and almost like cat eyes, but only slightly like cat eyes. What her makeup did would often come out like a tiny little flick. Not too much. You still want to keep your eyes looking quite rounded, but just bring them out just slightly. And then once you've got that, you want to take a nice thin tapered brush. This is by Louise Young. The MAC 217 would work for this, but it might be a little bit too fluffy. You want the tip to be quite precise, and just basically work, and then just basically work that, almost smoke out, but not too much. You just want to keep in that crease area, and then that's really all you do with this part. You just keep building it up and then working it until you're happy with it, really. Okay, and then moving on to back onto the black eyeshadow, I'm going to take this. I'm going to take a line and just underneath, just the centre bit of the eye, because we're going to do something a bit later. And then what we're going to do now is this little trick that Edie did to make her eyes look really open. Take the eyeshadow and open it up just here. So instead of bringing the eyeshadow up into the eye to define it, we're going to bring it down slightly. And also just going to flick it out slightly on this side as well. And then going to line the upper lash line as well. Okay, and then, and this is the reason why I didn't use a pure white to begin with, I'm going to take a white eyeshadow and I'm going to, on the ball of the eye, just going to dab it, just for like a highlight. Then we're going to curl the lashes. Okay, now mascara. Now in this look you really want to work well with your lashes, so it's probably best if you want to go for an Edie Sedgwick look to use falsies of some sort. But if you don't want to use falsies, if they're a bit too much for you, just make sure you use loads and loads of mascara. If you're going to use falsies, use a mascara, but don't go too heavy with it because we're going to have falsies on top anyway. Just use a light mascara. So I've got Volumizer mascara by Bourjois. I'm just going to use the first step. Okay, so I've just popped on some number 204 lashes by Alia, and they're quite thick, and you want your lashes to be nice and thick. In fact, I think Edie would often put 2 sets of lashes on. So you can put 2 sets on, or you can just put one thick strip on. It's really up to you. So next up I have a liner by Bourjois, and have a look, it's nice and fine, which is what you need. And what I'm going to do is just go over my lash line. A little difficult on these lashes. And another reason why we're using a thin brush for this is because we're gonna do a little tip here. Now I know that Twiggy used this technique. I don't know whether Edie Sedgwick used it, but we're going to create the illusion of big bottom lashes. So taking the little thin brush, gonna do short little flicks just down here. To create the illusion of little wispy bottom lashes. Okay, and then what we're going to do is I'm going to take a powder by MAC, and this is it's actually a foundation form in powder, so it'll give me some extra coverage, and because it's a powder it will make the skin look quite matte, which is what you want with this look. The skin is often kept quite matte. So yeah, that's it for a 60s look. I mean, to be honest, the only thing you really need to worry about with the 60s look is the eyes. Lips and cheeks you can really work any way you want to, as long as you just keep the lips and cheeks very subtle and nude, because this look is really all about the eyes. So yeah, I really hope you have enjoyed watching, and yeah, if you have any more requests for me, just keep sending them in, and I will try and get around to doing them. And yes, so I hope you're all well, and I will see you all soon. Bye everybody.